guys, welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. And how are you all? I am very excited today because today you will be seeing something incredible and rare to see, the live stream of the Chinese rocket launch. And well, boy, I must say that Chinese launchers are very pretty. When they launch, they look awesome. And not only that, the science they carry, the thing which they have, the Chinese space program is just incredible. I just I've always been this thing in which I say that the next competitor for NASA is obviously the CNSA, which is the Chinese Space Agency. So yes, hi everyone. Hi Moonman 4. Welcome to the stream. Louis Smith, Space Maniac. Hi Joe Smith, Scientist Zone. Welcome you all. And well. Today we have the stream of the. We'll get into this, so don't worry about that. But what are you seeing in front of you is the live view of the rocket. You can see it's quite venting there, and obviously it's how the cryogenic rocket works. And other than that, you can see some platforms have been opened. The upper platform as well as the lower platforms are open, which means the things are looking good. They are progressing as per the plan. The countdown is going smoothly, although we don't have any official update from them whether everything is going as per the plan. But seeing the platforms and the venting, we can say that things are looking good. And so everyone, hi Space Exploration, how are you all? So let's get into it now, right? Because we have a lot to talk about, lot to discuss. And yes, sorry for me being late today, because Chinese launches, it's very difficult to grab a hold of one streams. Like I have to log in the website. I don't understand Chinese, so it's quite difficult for me to coordinate those things. So sorry for that, but yes, I am here now and I'll be there for you, with you, breaking down things that you all should know. So without any further ado, let's just jump into it, and let's just first of all understand what is this Long March 7 rocket is, right? So just a sec. Yeah. So the Long March 7, as I said, the rocket which is being launched today is the Long March 7, and it is carrying the Tianzhou 4, Tianzhou or Tianzhou. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but so pardon me for that. But yes, Tianzhou 4 mission will be going to Chinese space station. We'll talk about the Chinese space stations, also the construction and everything. So let's get to it. So here we have the Long March 7 rocket, and from the this picture only, you can see it's quite a tall rocket. Yes, and it stands at around 53 meters tall. And this rocket has the capability to carry around 13.5 tons to low Earth orbit, which it is going today. And a geosynchronous transfer orbit is 7 tons, and it can also translunar injection. It can also do that, so around 5 tons of translunar injection. And payload to sun synchronous orbit is around 5.5 tons. So this is the characteristic of this rocket, and it's a beautiful looking rocket, a sleek and a beautiful looking rocket with the boosters attached. So let's have a look at the this exploded view of this rocket. So thanks to the one and only Vani for providing these infographics. So here you can see we have the boosters, the 4 boosters which you just saw. Just a second. Yeah, this one, these 4 boosters, these are attached, detachable. Then we have the first stage, and the second stage, and the third stage. So here you can see the first stage and the second stage only. So the the boosters here you can see are this one, and the booster runs on YF100 engine, which is one of them, YF100. The first stage runs on 2 YF100 engines, so it's like that. So they couple both the engines together and pour in the double the amount of fuel. I know there will be some optimization as well as something which won't scale up to, like, if you are doubling the engines, the fuel will also need to be double. It can be more, it can be less. I can't say that much, but I must say it's close to 2 times here. And yes, so this YF-100 engine runs on RP1 and locks as its fuel. And these fuel is nothing but the same as what SpaceX Falcon 9 runs. The RP1 and LOX, a pretty standard semi-cryogenic fuel which most of the rocket industry uses, and it's a pretty handy to use basically, and has a good amount of thrust as well as the ISP. So this YF-100 engines runs on stage oxidizer rich stage combustion cycle. Stage combustion cycle simply means that the combustion of the fuel is done in stages, right? So there is a pre-burner wherein the fuel first of all goes in that, as the name suggests, the fuel is burnt like partially. Pre-burner is like that, only partially, and then which is used to rotate the turbines, and then turbines in turn rotate the turbo pumps. So it's a cycle, I'm not going into it, but just remember that fuel which is burnt into pre-burner is fed directly into the combustion chamber where all the fuel is actually burnt. So it's a closed cycle, and no fuel is wasted. So that's one good thing. So we have done the first stage, the boosters. Talking about the second stage is a bit different. It runs on two YF-75 engines. So these YF-75 engine runs on hydrolox as its fuel, and as you know, I am a big advocate of this one, that the upper stage of your rocket should have a hydrolox engine. It has a great ISP. It can have a good amount of thrust also, and the hydrolox is made for the upper stage. For comparison, the ISP of the burn time is not here ISP actually, but yeah, we do have a we have a burn time. The ISP for the third stage is around 438 seconds. So it's quite huge, right? So that's that. Okay, so we have two fixed YF is here in this module. Okay, I just got it. In this one we have YF-115 engine only. So all the we have 4 YF fixed 115 and 2 tilted 115, which means it will be able to gimbal, and it also has LOX and RP1 as its fuel. It's a different version of the Long March 7. That's why it is not having the third stage. Because it's quite a heavy module and you don't want the third stage. The second stage can do its job. So yeah, now moving on to the next thing. Now let's have a look at this one which is in front of you. So this is the thing which is going to the space today, the Chinese space station, which is the Tianzhou-4 mission, and this is a Tianzhou-4 spacecraft which is carrying around astronaut daily consumables and cargo. This is a 4th mission. The space station platform, equipment and products, which means things which are the science and all those things, the space science, space experimental devices, medical equipments, fuel and all those things. So pretty much what should I say, a standard resupply mission to space station as we have for the international one also. So this is how this one this thing looks like. Here you can see in front of you the real images. Here you can see this how it is tagged. Here it's the docking port, and the propulsion modules is here, and the solar panels are here, and these are obviously the reaction control thrusters. So yeah, it can carry around 6.8 tons of cargo to space station. So yeah, it's quite a capable resupplier of the cargo. So talking about the size of this one, here you can see how it stacks up. So it's almost the size of a bus. In comparison, you can see a standard bus, and this one it's almost a size of that. So it's quite huge, but you can see the large fairing of this Long March 7. The Long March 7 actually has a very large fairing, and here you can see that in action. So now moving on to the core module, which is the core module of the space station. And there is one reason why I'm actually discussing this Tianhe core module. I hope everything is going as per the plan. So yeah, yes, as it is. So hi Crisco, thanks for that 799. How long will Tianzhou 4 take to dock with the CSS after launching? Yes, I'll discuss about that. So don't worry about it. So let's just discuss about this Tianhe module. This one is a core module, and you will understand the significance why am I discussing this one. So this one is a core module. Here it has the docking units, which you can see, this one here, and it's a pretty this was the first module which was launched, and it's a core module, as you can say. So you can see we have one forward docking port, the two here side docking ports, and one after docking ports, and it has also thrusters here. It has the solar panels and gyroscope, antenna, and one of this main thing is this remote manipulator system, which is robotic arm, which itself can move around in the space station. So it's not a fixed arm, it itself can move around in the space station to coordinate with the things. So right now what is happening is we have a module docked here on the after docking port, which is the Tianzhou 3 module, which is the cargo resupply mission, third cargo resupply mission which went, and it is being docked here. And for today, this docking port needs to be available, but since it is docked here, the Tianzhou 3 is already docked here. It has to go from here to here, which it has already done, from the previous docking, the after docking port to the forward docking port. It has to make that transition so that it can make space for the Tianzhou 4 mission. So this is all about it, and here you can see the handrails, which is used for, obviously this is the EVA one, so that the astronauts can come outside. So talking about the Chinese space station, don't pay a good amount of look at these icons, because they have messed up. They have messed this infographic up here. They have placed this Hubble Space Telescope, and this is not how the cargo spaceship look like. So yeah, let me just tell you the things. First of all, the core module, which we have already talked about, this is a main living quarters for the astronauts, working apartment for monitoring and commanding the core system. So this is, from here everything is coordinated basically. Then we have the laboratory module, the Wenchang, and the laboratory module to the Mention. These are the two science modules which have not been launched yet, and they will do the bulk of the science and every other science, as well as the experiments which they need to conduct and all those things. So here these are the Wenchang and the Mention. These are those modules. Then we have the crewed spacecraft, which is a Shenzhou. So here you can see the Shenzhou module can be docked at two ports here. Okay, yeah, this one, the forward docking port, as well as the docking port which is located here, the bottom one. So there are two docking ports, and the Shenzhou spacecraft can be docked in any one of them. So right now, since the Shenzhou, there is no crew on board. Yes, there is no crew on board. The space station is empty. So therefore, these both the forward as well as this bottom docking port is available, and hence the transition could be taken place from here to here. Okay. So here you can see this is the the Shenzhou spacecraft, and then here below the aft part of the core module, we have the Tianzhou spacecraft. So this is where today the spacecraft will dock. So this is how it looks like. And yes, they also have this telescope module known as Zhongxia, which has a certain features. So here you can see around like it's quite a capable one. It's not this is not how it looks like. This is Hubble, obviously, and I have we'll talk about that too. So that's how it looks like. And so yeah, this is how the 3D render would look like, right? And this is the Canada not the Canada arm, but the robotic arm, which can actually travel onto the space station. Here it is located here. It can be kind of plugged in here and can do its job from here. It can also be plugged here, can do the job from here. So this robotic arm can travel around in the space station and do its job from there. So this is how it looks like, the core module. This is the core module, right? This is the Tianzhou spacecraft, the Shenzhou, this is also Shenzhou, and these are the Wenchang and the Mengxian 9 model. So yeah, I hope I made myself clear about the Chinese space station. And yes, talking about this one, Tianzhou 3 relocated to the forward docking port. Here you can see how it looked like. It was docked with the aft one. It left from there, and once the Shenzhou spacecraft Shenzhou 13 docked and they landed, this was done. The Tianzhou 3 was undocked from the aft and redocked again at the front one. So you must be asking, like, why can't we just do it the front from the front one, right? Why do we have to make way for the Tianzhou to dock at the aft docking port? It's a good question, and I must say that the reason for it is, if you will see the structure of the core module, you will see that a majority of means how it is constructed, it will be easier for them to empty the cargo resupply module from the back rather than the front, and that's the reason why they are going with this chipping and chopping. So yeah, now moving on, yeah, this one. So this is the telescope which I was talking about. This is a very capable telescope, and this is a part of the space station, but not the part of the space station also. It's kind of like that. I mean, it is not docked with the space station, but it's a part of the space station, and I'll tell you why it's like that. So first of all, let's just talk about the feature of this telescope. So this will feature a 2-meter diameter of a primary mirror and is expected to have around 300 times larger field of view than the Hubble Space Telescope. So it will be a quite big telescope. This will allow the telescope to image up to 40% of the sky using its 2.5 gigapixel camera over 10 years. 40%. So it's quite a big telescope. It will be launched in 2023, and this will basically, why is it a part of space station? Let me just tell you that it is not docked with the space station, right? So it will be in the similar orbit of the space station, but will have a different phase. By different phase, what I mean is, if the dock, you can say that if the space station is at a certain position, let's suppose this will be in the same orbit, but let's say with the one just the opposite side of the orbit, this one will be there. I'm just saying that I don't know exactly where it will be, what is the actual phase, but I'm just telling you what do I mean by phase. Phase is nothing but just that only, if we have a different phase between two objects in the same orbit, which that means they are just located in a different location in the orbit. That's it. Okay. And now coming to the main question, why is it related to space station? So it is so because all the servicing and everything will be done when it will be brought near the space station, will be refueled there, servicing will be done, the dock with the station, and all those things will be coordinated with the space station itself. So this is how they have planned. No service missions would be required like the Hubble one, wherein you have to go to the telescope there and do the service missions. Here that is not needed. You can just the telescope itself will come near to the space station, do all the servicing that you want, refuel it, and then make it go. So that's how it will work, and that's why it's a part of space station. Okay, now moving on to the next part, talking about the construction plan of the space station. So hi Shashank, it's been a long time you being here. 10 minutes later CCTV will start. Yes, we'll move on to the CCTV one. I don't I don't think so many people will understand the Chinese here, but yeah, we'll see. So talking about this one, here you can see how the construction plan has been for the Chinese space station. So we have this Long March 5B rocket, the Long March 7 rocket, and the Long March 2F rocket. So these three rockets are being used to construct the space station. The Long March 2F rocket is there for the manned space missions. So all the Shenzhou missions, Shenzhou 12, 13, 14, all those things will be done by this Long March 2F rocket, which is their very reliable one, the human space flight capable and all that. Then we have the Long March 7, the medium lift rocket, which is designed for all the resupply mission, the cargo one and all those things. And then we have this big boy, the Long March 5B, which is responsible for carrying all the heavier core modules or the different modules of the space station. You can see it has already launched the Tianhe, and it is supposed to launch this Wenchang and the Mengtian, which is supposed to happen in this year as well as the next year. So the one mission has been done, 2 are left. So and this is how it will look like. So I think now we have so the timeline is here. In May, the Tianzhou 4 cargo ship will be launched, which is launching today. The Shenzhou 14 manned spaceship will be launched in June, which will stay there for 6 months. And then July, we have a Wenchang lab module, and in October we have a Mengtian lab module. So by the end of this year, you will see the full construction of this space station. If you will exclude the telescope, then yes, you are seeing the full construction of the space station. So yeah, this is how the things look like. And whatever I have told you about the different things and all those things, this video summarizes it beautifully. So let's listen in.
It took me only a few minutes to finish this model of the Chinese space station. But if you're going to build an actual one in space, it's not that simple. China's Tiangong space station project consists of 3 stages: key technical verification, construction, and operation. The successful maiden launch of China's Long March 5B rocket in May of 2020 was a key milestone, validating this rocket as a viable vehicle to lift the station's core module called Tianhe into its designated orbit. Tiangong will be a T-shaped structure with the Tianhe core module and Mengtian and Wentian experimental modules. Besides the 3 launches to put the modules in orbit, China has planned 4 manned missions and 4 cargo missions. 11 intensive launches in total by the end of 2022. All of China's manned space missions will rely on this Long March 2F rocket. The Shenzhou spacecraft sits on the top of the rocket. Once the core module and later the entire Tiangong station are in place, this specific craft will dock with the core module while in orbit. Chinese astronauts will not only conduct a number of experiments, but also carry out extravehicular activities to help complete the construction of the space
this one
station.
is very necessary.
Living and working in space for long periods of time requires more supplies. This is where the Long March 7 carrier rocket comes in. It will be used to carry the Tianzhou cargo ship, which will contain food, water, and other necessary supplies to the space station. All of these missions are integral parts, furthering China's endeavors for space exploration.
So yes, that was it. And you just saw something in here. This one.
Space station.
Here you can see that the astronaut is on the robotic arm, and yes, the astronauts will use the robotic arm to maneuver outside the space station itself for the EVA activity. They'll sit on the robotic arm and do all those things which are necessary, the servicing and all those installation and everything. It's quite a capable arm, I must say that. So yeah, that is pretty much about it. And now let's just have a look at the summary. And again, thanks to this is the Tianzhou 4. This is obviously valid for Tianzhou 4 also, and thanks to Wani for providing this one. Here you can see we have the the whole timeline and how the things would look like. The ignition and liftoff will happen at T0, then the booster separation T173, T185 seconds, the first stage cutoff. The stage separation will happen, the interstage separation will happen. So those are different things. And then the fairing separation, after that the second stage engines will cut off. Here you can see we have a different thing, yeah, right? So after a certain while, the two engines are cut off, and it is necessary because while you are in the final phase of your burn, the acceleration increases tremendously because the weight of your ship decreases because the fuel has been consumed, almost all of them. And at that point of time, when you have to do a precise orbital injection, then you don't need a huge amount of thrust, and that's where you have this one, the fixed engine cutoff happens previously, and after that this tilted one happens, because then you can have a decreased amount of thrust and a more precise orbital injection. And then finally the spacecraft separation and the solar panels will deploy. And so this is how the things would look like. Talking about the approach, here you can see this is how it will look like. So yes, talking about the approach and how much time it will take for it to dock with the space station. So guys, it's like as you asked also, Chris, let me just answer you this question. It will take around 6.6 or 6.5 hours approximately to dock with the space station. And the steps are like this here only. It will do the burn here to increase the orbit from this one to this one, and then here the thruster burn to finally meet with the Tianzhou, the space station. So this is how everything would look like. And yes, now finally we can have a look at the live views of the rocket. Okay, so we are done with the explanation, guys. I hope you liked it. T-minus 37 minutes and counting. Things are looking great. And you can see all the platforms have been opened up, which is a great sign, which means everything is progressing as per the plan. And let me just see if we have an official webcast, and I'll switch over to that once we have it. Yep, we'll be having our official webcast, and I'll switch over to that, so don't worry about it. Okay, so right now here you can see in front of you the all the platforms have been opened up. The Long March 7 rocket is quite ready on the launch pad. It's venting heavily because all the stages are the cryogenic stages. Even the boosters, they are not using solids one. And talking about the solids, well, China does not have a very good history when working with solids, right? So they tend to use the liquid ones only for the boosters. Also, for the boosters, people, or not the people, but the organizations work into you can have solid booster rather than a liquid booster, because it's quite costly to have just a solid liquid booster, liquid stage as a booster, because you are having an costly engine in there, and then you have to detach all of them. So rather than that, you can just go with a cheaper one, which will also do kind of the same work, solids one. But China does not have much success. And thank you so much, Lee, for that 5. Really appreciate it, man. Yeah, I hope you liked it. So we have what do we have in here? We are T-minus 35 minutes. Things are looking great, and we just waiting in for the thing to happen. Obviously we will be having a proper official webcast also, and I'll switch over to that so that you can have a proper view of how the rocket would look like. I would be the sweating bullets being one of the first 3 astronauts to do the 6-month stay. Space Maniac, actually, when they have recently constructed the Chinese space station, as we all know, but the human space flight missions of China is very old. They already started way back in 90s, and they constructed also some a small station kind of a thing, just like a Skylab for um, the US. And after they have actually constructed everything, they know how to live in space, to live in a tin can in space, and how to launch and dock and everything. Then only they went with the full-fledged construction of a space station. So they already had the knowledge, everything was there. And now they have the most advanced, I must say, that the advanced and the clean looking space station there, because it's not like ISS, which where everything is cluttered. Obviously ISS was made like 30 years ago, so you don't expect much from it. But right now it's made from 2020s 2000s technology, so things are very nice, precise, and in place. So yeah, hey, thank you so much Crispy for that 199, really appreciate it, man. These all donations and all those things, appreciate, I really appreciate it, because this is what you know gets this channel going. And have I really love when I interact with you all, and this just gives me proper boost. So thank you all for that. Okay, so we have anything else to? Oh yeah, one more thing, that um, people in China, they say, as they don't say astronauts, rather they say taikonauts. So that's one trivia for you. Like we in Russia we have cosmonauts, US we have astronauts. The Chinese people call them the taikonauts. So that's a good name. And Indians are also looking in for their first human space flight. It's getting pushed and pushed, but hopefully next year we'll see the first developmental flight. So there you will see their astronauts named as Vyomnauts. So every country has their own way of how calling the astronauts, if you go by the English word. Okay. Chinese space station is much behind than ISS. Nope. It's all obviously a smaller version, but not at all behind. I mean, the capability of, I would say it's much more advanced. I have already said that it's much more advanced than ISS. Just because it's a 32-year-old, ISS is 32-year-old, and Chinese space station has been made just now. So the technologies and all those things, are there, the latest one. So the clean looking things, and latest technologies, all those things are there. So yeah. 6 times launch task. And talking about this, yeah, launch cadence, the Chinese have a incredible launch cadence, I must say that. They are competing with you thanks to SpaceX. Actually, SpaceX is making us stay in the competition with China when it comes to the launch cadence, because SpaceX is what making launching their rockets very frequently. And there we have things from China that they also launch very very frequently, but we don't get to see them because they don't live stream it. So this is a very rare launch which you are actually seeing in front of you, which is actually great, right? We can see it in front of us and all those things. And yeah, so, and I also have something for you. There you go. So this will I hope you'll like it. Animations to support the actual rocket launch. So if you are just joining in, guys, we are T minus 30 minutes from the launch. Everything is looking good. All the platforms have been opened up. The This one is venting very rapidly right now, because this rocket is actually fueled a very um, what should I say, a very long time ago. So it's not like SpaceX one, which is fueled at the end. It's not like that. And it can also, the unique feature about this rocket, it's first of all, it's fully fueled very very long time ago, before it's launched. And other thing which is very unique, that it can actually stay in a fully fueled state for around 2 days. And yes, previously when the scrub happened, I remember with the Tianzhou-2 mission, the scrub, there was a technical glitch, and the rocket launch did not go. So did not happen the first time. So then it was rescheduled after 2 days, and for one day they literally fueled it. They keep on topping off the locks and all those things, and then finally when they figured out what was the problem, they had to, you know, uh, refuel it and then refuel it. So this, it can actually hold up fuel for 2 days straight. That's one thing which is very incredible. Okay. Hi. How many rockets did China launch this year in comparison to space? Well, I can't say to in comparison to SpaceX, but I do have the stats for. Okay. Yeah. So let me just say one. What was I saying? Yeah, I do have the stat for how the Chinese rocket cadence as launch cadence as well as the US launch cadence uh, stand up to each other. So let me just tell you that till now we have how many? So China has done 14 launches and US has done 23 launches. Out of that, US had one a failure and China has none. So 14. I must say US. It's US doing 23 launches. It's US. In SpaceX, Rocket Lab. Then we have the Astra and Virgin Orbit and all those things combined. And then we have the China. 14 launches done solely by CNSA. We have not had any. Yes, we do have had some two, I think, couple of launching from private one, but most of them are from the proper organization, CNSA, the Chinese Space Agency. So, like NASA does not do any launches now. All the launches are done by private industry. So, it's not the case in China yet. So, yeah. What tech which modules? You need to reframe that question. Cool, Dr. Money, so that I can answer that. So, yep, still waiting. I should be over to the live stream there. Still waiting in and begin any moment now. And guys, if you liked whatever information I have shared, please just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button also, so that YouTube knows you only 194 viewers. And this happens with live streams. It really happens that no matter how much effort you put in a particular live stream, YouTube does not promote it, and then or whatever effort you have put in, most of the people have not even seen that. So hitting that like button would tell YouTube to maybe recommend this food, and it would help me. And if you want to support me and in whatever I do in these live streams, the videos and all those, you can become a member by clicking on the join button, or you can become a Patreon also if that is your way. So both the links are open, and yeah. How many countries have been putting things into space this year? Max Ugly, that's a good question. I have a stat for that too. So we have US putting in, China chipping in. We have one from we have 6 from Russia, obviously, 3 from New Zealand, one from Iran, one from India, and one from France. So this is how. So in total, how many countries? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Till now, 7 countries have launched into orbit this year. Okay, so they have started it. Yep.
Good morning from Beijing and welcome to our special coverage of China's latest space mission. I'm Li Dongning. Well, today, China will send a third ship loaded with supplies to its under construction space station. It will be taken there by a Long March 7 rocket, which is scheduled to depart from the Wenchang spacecraft launch site in the southern province of Hainan shortly. And the cargo includes propellant and other supplies to support crewed missions later this year. And authorities hope to have the space station completely built by the end of this year. And for the latest on the launch, our reporter Zheng Yibing is joining us live at the Wenchang launch site. Yibing, hello there. Well, it's quite dark behind you. I couldn't see it. I can't see anything. So the countdown has begun. How are things going over there?
Well, yes, Dongning, the weather is pretty good now. It's the final preparation before the launch of the Tianzhou-4 cargo spacecraft. And all systems at the Wenchang spacecraft launch site are closely monitoring the condition of the carrier rocket and the ground temperature and humidity and wind speed. And according to the launch site, despite the fact it's in the rain season here in Wenchang, the weather condition is pretty good, and it's a good launch window for Tianzhou-4 cargo ship. We participated in the vertical transportation of the combination of the spacecraft and also the Tianzhou cargo ship on April the day before yesterday. We also see the social media posted from the beach, not far away from the site where people are waiting to see the moment of the launch in the distance here. The pictures they show on the social media about the stars and the sky and the thin cloud.
Wow,
and we're now
just look
standing
at
on the
that.
launch tower of the command and control center at the site. We can see the launch tower is a combination of the rocket and the Tianzhou cargo ship. It's a little bit cloudy, but this feeling is pretty good, amazing. And the launch tower is glimmering in the distance. Almost an hour ago, China's manned space agency announced that Long March 7 Wi-Fi carrier rocket finished refilling and is expected to be launched about half an hour later. Because the time is different from the previous Tianzhou-3 cargo ship, which launched from here in the early afternoon last September. Here in Wenchang, the time is quite the opposite. So at this moment, the personnel at the site are devoted and they are standing by for the launch time. And this resupply mission for the core module of Tiangong is the first of 6 missions to complete in China's Tiangong space station by the end of the year. We send our best wish for the launch and the future Chinese space station. Back to you, Donnie.
Indeed, hope everything goes well. You mentioned the weather is very good for the launch. How about today's weather exactly? Is it a clear day? Because it's quite dark behind you. You can't see the weather there really.
Yes, allow me to explain. We actually arrived here almost a week ago. That time it was raining heavily, but gradually the weather is changing for good. So at this moment, you may not see clearly about the distance of launch tower, but the weather is pretty good. And the local temperature is about 26 degrees Celsius. And we're now heard from the personnel at the site. The launch tower, the 3 tiers of the protecting the window is gradually opening. So I guess in about 25 minutes, the launch tower will fully open and the launch itself will begin. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Zheng Yibing, reporting from Wenchang, the launch site of Tianzhou-4 in Hainan province in southern China. Well, China expects to complete 6 major missions this year as it builds its own space station, and 4 of the launches will take place at the Wenchang site in southern Hainan province. One of the mission planners tells us about the preparations.
Now, the whole launch site is busy with multiple missions, particularly the 4 missions to be
21 minutes and
conducted
40
here
seconds
for
remaining.
completing China's space station. Therefore, our personnel are working full-time, and they are working hard and taking extra shifts. And the launch site has very high standards on preventing 3 types of errors. There are errors in command, operation, and direction. In this regard, we build up training platforms to solve these problems. Relevant staff can only go to their posts through pre-training in relevant operation and methods learning. There are 2 types of training methods that the launch site particularly emphasizes on. They are preveal and reveal. With these, our staff can begin to conduct missions. From the perspective of security, the launch site covers a very big area with complicated working systems. So we face difficulties in finding leaks, troubleshooting, and keeping order. We did checks in specified areas and technical security. Now everything goes smoothly, and we have laid a good foundation for the following missions. We spent a great amount of time on the job. It's normal to see many colleagues working from early morning until late at night. They're doing nameless jobs. It's because of their hard work that the whole system is moving forward in good order. We're confident about the following construction and development of Wenchang spacecraft launch site. We will have to go through difficulties, but we believe that this place will truly help realize China's dream of exploring the space.
All right, we are now joined in the studio by Professor Yang Yuguang from the China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation. Professor Yang, welcome to our special coverage. Well, our reporter just mentioned that Tianzhou-3 was launched in an afternoon, and now Tianzhou-4 is going to be launched at midnight Beijing time. Why the difference in timing?
Well, good morning, Dongning. You see that the basic requirement for a spacecraft to rendezvous and dock with the China's Tiangong space station, the most important thing is to they enter the same orbital plane. You see that that the orbital plane is relatively stable in the 3D dimension, but you know that the launch site is rotating with the Earth. So every day we don't have other choices but to when the launch site is rotate with the Earth and enters the orbital plane of the Tiangong space station. Only at this moment we can launch the Tianzhou-4 cargo ship. So this is a basic requirement, and also because of the features of the Earth orbital dynamics.
He's a very technical person.
Also the moment when the launch site passing through the orbital plane is different every day. So you can see someday we can see the launch in the afternoon, or someday like today in the morning, very early.
Right, and the Tianzhou-4 cargo spacecraft is reportedly to be very similar in design to its sister Tianzhou-3. As far as we know, the length of Tianzhou-4 is 10.6 meters long and 14.9 meters wide. Of course, it is when the solar panel is fully extended. How different is Tianzhou-4 from Tianzhou-3 or even Tianzhou-2?
Well, you see that with the successful 3 missions before, the Tianzhou cargo ship and the related technologies is already very practical. But the role of the different Tianzhou spaceships are really different. You see that the basic configuration or the technical specifications of the Tianzhou-1 and the Tianzhou-2 are very similar. But the Tianzhou-3 and the Tianzhou-4 are similar. So the Tianzhou-1 and the 2 are having, both of them have 8 containers in their service module for storing the propellants. Well, for the Tianzhou-3 and the Tianzhou-4, both have only 4 fuel tanks, not like the Tianzhou-1 and the Tianzhou-2. Because you know that for the Tianzhou-1 and the Tianzhou-2, the major role of these vehicles not only provide supplies to the Tiangong-2 space laboratory or to the Tianhe-1 core module, but also to test the key technologies. For instance, the Tianzhou-2 plays a very important role in the technology verification phase. It also has the adapter to be grabbed by the robotic arm and test the technologies of repositioning from the front docking port to the side putting port, and also testing the technology of remote controlled manual docking for the future. So, it also has these purposes. But today, the Tianzhou-4, the major role of this spacecraft is providing the resupplies for the Shenzhou 14 crew. So today, according to the report, we have 5 tons of resupplies for the Shenzhou 14 crew, and also additionally 1 ton of propellants, much less than the Tianzhou-2, because you know that based on the former missions, the Tiangong space station has sufficient propellant at current stage. So this time we reduce the resupply of propellants, but add other resupplies for the coming missions.
So it's more precisely designed in terms of space and carrying capabilities. And the rocket that it's going to carry...
Hey guys, I know what's going on in the chat. Let's just be here for the science and not compare ISS and CSS. It's a totally different thing. We'll do that in another stream, but right now just listen in what is going on here.
Tianzhou spaceship is the most effective cargo ship in the world today. It only has a total mass about 13 to 13.5 tons, but the resupply can brought up to 6.9 tons to the space station. And the initial requirement to the launch vehicle Long March 7 is to launch spacecraft to the inclined orbit, similar as like the Tiangong space station, with inclination about
Professor Yang,
41 to 42 degrees. Okay.
I have to leave you there for a while because it's a 15 minutes countdown for the launch, and we're going to continue to observe the whole launch process. Professor Yang, you just mentioned the rocket, Long March 7 Y5, how special it is, and about the mission of Shenzhou 4.
Exactly.
The main mission
is pointless.
is to carry cargo for the future crew to live in space. But how exactly different is the mission of Tianzhou 4 from the other three, the previous three?
Well, you know that as I have mentioned, the former three has the role of testing key technologies, but this Tianzhou 4 is the major role of this cargo ship is to support the construction of China's space station. So it not only brings the resupplies for the daily life of the three crew members of the Shenzhou 4 team to stay there for half a year, but also you know that those instruments, equipments for the connecting the three modules together to connect the Tianhe 1 and the Wentian, Mengtian, the three modules together. You mentioned that now it is T-minus 15 minutes of the launch of the Long March 7. This time, we not only ensure the safety and also reliability of the combination of the cargo ship and the rocket, but also shortened the testing and the verification phase during the launch. So this time, it is more practical than before.
And I just saw from the picture that the local wind speed is 0, and the local the local temperature is about 25 degrees. Is it perfect? Is it perfect weather for the launch?
Perfect.
Well, yes, it is very good weather for the launch. But you see, the Wenchang spacecraft launch site is very special in China. It is the only launch site near the sea. So the environment we also must consider about the influence of the sea. You know that the water vapor of the atmosphere near the Wenchang is much higher than the other three launch sites. So we must consider the influence. Moreover, you see that there are salt in the sea. So the water vapor also contains much salt. So this is also corrosive to the instruments and equipment on the rocket. So we must also consider about this influence. It must be well considered. But on the other hand, the position of the Wenchang spacecraft launch site is the most ideal one among the four launch sites.
I would just want to see this view
of the
live.
Wenchang Satellite Launch Center is only about 90 degrees of the to the north. So this is very ideal for launch spacecraft and to have the maximum capability of the launch vehicles. So this is also the reason we choose Wenchang as a launch site for China's future.
He's a very knowledgeable
more
person.
heavy
I love him.
Well, you mentioned, Professor Yang, that Wenchang is the idealist launching site among the four that China has right now. But the manned missions departed from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. Why?
Well, there are multiple reasons. One of the reasons is that due to the historical reasons. You see that our China's manned space program start.
Guys, let's just, I know what's going on in the chat, and I just want to say one thing. Guys, just, let's just discuss science here and not be political kind of thing, because the people you are seeing in front of you are all scientists, engineers, and they just, communicate with each other on the language of science. They are here to build for humanity. The experiments on the space stations on the Chinese space stations are from all over the world. Even India is participating in Chinese space station, and if you know the geopolitical relation between India and China, it's not that great. So when it comes to space, the Earth unites, and let's all just unite and just enjoy the launch, man. We are here for the launch and not discuss about the politics and whatnot. So just we enjoy this launch. Let's see what do we got with those engine bay cam, and I'm more looking forward for this launch because Chinese launchers, live view of those launchers is very rare. So yeah, let's just be here.
And also introductions of the whole launch process. Now, construction
so guys,
of the
let's just see where are you from. So I am type in the chat where we have audience from where. This was the Shenzhou-2F mission.
China's space station or Tiangong is being built in
Long March 2F rocket carrying Shenzhou capsule.
3 modules with a combined weight of over 180 tons. It is
And,
designed lifespan.
okay guys, let me just tell you the significance of today's mission and what all things are unique. So interesting thing about the Wenchang launch center is that today they are actually having some revamped in their control display system. That will improve the fusion between the various tracking and the data acquisition system, as well as enhance the cross-platform experience. And I'm just waiting for us getting some glimpse of the control center display system, because they have changed a bit and revamped it so that everything is coordinated properly. And we have people already going in here to have a new sub. Thank you so much, Timothy. We have people from US, England, Singapore, China, Slovenia. Okay, Scarborough, New York, California, Rajasthan. Cool. And watching from Florida. Yes. So we have people watching in from all over the world, just trying to witness this launch, because this is also one of the important launches for the construction of the space station, because it is an integral part, this cargo resupply mission, because right now on the space station there is no one. And there is only one more cargo resupply, means the Tianzhou-3 is docked with the space station, and it was docked in the aft part of the core module. It has transitioned from aft to the front end part so that it can make way for the Tianzhou-4, which will dock in the aft part of the core module. And if you ask me, like, why do we have to make this station change, I mean, why this transition? The reason is simple, because the cargo, the thing which they can get from the cargo resupply has the cargo in it, and it's much easier to get the cargo from the aft docking port rather than the front one. So that's the reason why.
Upcoming construction of 2 space science laboratories. That
Yes.
is going to be a lot of cargo. And does this mean the cargo ship will be loaded with more freight than previous supply missions?
Well, that the maximum capability of the Tianzhou cargo ship is about 6.9 tons, as I mentioned.
Yes.
But in different missions, you realize that the configuration and arrangement is different. As I have mentioned today, this time we have less propellants, but more kind of resupplies and also equipment for the construction. You see that the construction of China space station is not simply connect the 3 modules together, but also have other very complicated tasks. For instance, we must mount many instruments and equipments outside the not only the Tianhe core module, but also outside the Wentian and Mengtian module. That is the reason why the EVA technology is so important for us.
Hey,
and
I'm
we
just
perform
waiting
the
for
full
this cam
EVAs
to be
during
alive
the
when
Shenzhou
the
12 and the Shenzhou 14
rocket
mission.
launches.
So this time for the Shenzhou 14 crew, we will
Wow.
also have very, very important task performing EVA outside the station, not only outside the Tianhe one, but also outside the Wentian and the Mengtian module. Moreover, you see that the regenerative life support system, we have already tested this system very perfectly. But also, we need some resupplies of parts and also other things necessary for the operation of this kind of environmental control system.
Right, and now it's 6 minutes of a countdown of the
we
launch
have people
of
from
Tianzhou
Pennsylvania,
4.
Las Vegas, and
Professor, I
yes,
can
things
see,
are looking great right
Tianzhou
now.
4
T-minus
and
5
the
minutes,
rocket
30
already
seconds
at
remaining.
the
Everything
launch
is
pad,
on
and some
track.
vapor
We
coming
are just
out
waiting in
of
for
the
this
rocket.
beautiful
Where is the
rocket
vapor
to
coming
launch.
from?
And talking about the Long March 7, let me just brief you about this Long March 7. So this Long March 7 has 4 boosters, one first core stage and then upper stage. The boosters have are powered by YF100 engines, which is basically powered by RP1 and LOX as its fuel, which is in the Falcon 9. So those core stage as well as the boosters, all of them are powered by the YF100. So, but the core stage has like 2 of them, 2 of YF100, but the boosters have single them. So in total, the bottom stage in combination will have like 4, 5, 6 engines running in, and then the boosters will detach, the core stage will still burn, then the core stage will detach, the second stage will burn, the second stage the upper stage will have 4 YF115 engines. 2 of them are fixed, 2 of them can gimbal, and when it is and then after that the fairing will separate, and then finally those the upper stage the upper stage also has a certain unique combination in which, first of all, the fixed one are burn out, and then the 2 gimbaled one are burnt out. So there is a 10-second gap, and there is a reason why they do that, because when you want to inject a thing into a particular orbit, you don't want much thrust at that point of time, because at the end of the burn the rocket have the maximum thrust, because obviously maximum acceleration, not the thrust but the acceleration is maximum, because the fuel is spent and the weight is less, and you don't want that acceleration when you are just precisely inserting something into an orbit, and that's why 2 of them engines are shut down and the 2 are still burning to diminish that acceleration and have a precise injection. So here you can see we have 25 degrees as temperature, 0.0 meters per second is the wind speed. So yes,
oxygen, both are environmental friendly. So the product of the combustion is only carbon dioxide and water, so it's harmless. But for the Tianzhou-4 cargo ship, it's different, because you know that it works very much longer than the launch vehicle in the outer space for almost half a year. So we use
I'm not a Star Trek one here, but the expanse one here. So expanse rules, I would say that.
UDMH, or unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrogen, and nitrogen tetroxide as the propellant. So both are very toxic and corrosive, but it can work in room temperature. So this is quite different. And also, we can still remember that we mastered the refueling technology during the Tianzhou-1 and the Tiangong-2 mission.
And we can see from the picture a very detailed picture of the rocket.
Exactly.
And
so you can see.
Yes.
So Dongning, you can see that all of the rotation platforms has already been opened. Only some connections of the rotation arms. So this means that all the preparation works has already been okay, and also the launch complex itself is okay. So all the ground crew has already withdrawn from the launch pad. So the combination is in a unmanned condition.
Right, and you mentioned the technologies that are used in propellant, and we all know that a reasonable and accurate amount of propellant is very decisive, very crucial for a safe and economical journey.
Okay, guys, we are T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds, which means 90 seconds remaining before this beauty lifts off from the pad, and I'm getting very excited right now. And let's just wait and see.
For example, for the refueling of the oxygen at this moment, we must be very carefully prepared, as you mentioned. You see that the vaporization
on track with the launch.
Okay, Professor, we are now seeing in the picture, I think you can see it now, the arms are beginning to detach from the rocket.
Yes.
Hey,
It's just
T-minus 60
about
seconds
1
remaining,
minute before
guys.
the launch.
Things are
Yes,
heating
as
up
we
now.
have mentioned, all the cables will be detached from the vehicle itself. So
Right.
at this moment, the power supply has turned from the ground to the vehicle itself.
So the last few moments before the launch are very important. So what exactly are the staff looking for?
T-minus 35
So
seconds
the
remaining,
monitoring all
guys.
kinds of parameters, such as the power supply, the
T-minus 30
control,
seconds.
and also other parameters. And at the T-minus
30
7 minutes,
seconds before the launch, and
Okay,
the
I'm getting
commander
excited.
just gave the orders.
T-minus 20,
will be countdown.
19, 18, 17,
Okay,
16,
about 15
15,
seconds before the
14,
launch. It's,
13, 12,
getting very
11,
thrilled.
10,
So it's a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the rocket is ignited and begins to
Yes,
We
exactly.
have-
fly into the sky and begins to leave the sweet home
that
Earth.
is pretty amazing.
So at 15 seconds after the liftoff, we will turn the direction, which is called pitch over.
So
The
how long
onboard camera
will
views are amazing.
Tianzhou-4 reach destination?
Well, about 8 to 10 minutes.
There
They
you
will,
go,
it will
guys.
reach
The next event
altitude
coming up
about
is
200
the
kilometers high.
booster
and
separation.
its final orbit.
So according to the commander, that everything is going on very well now.
Yes, we can see the camera mounted on the launch vehicle itself. We can see the 2 rocket boosters.
So the boosters now
2 of
being
the
let
4
go.
boosters. Yes, and the 4 boosters will be separated at about 170 seconds.
Oh, Max
And you
Q.
can,
There you go,
you can hear the
guys.
voice of the
Max
ground
Q,
staff
we
reporting
have achieved
the
Max
telemetry
Q.
data they received,
next event
and
coming
it
up
goes,
is
very
the,
normal. Everything is okay.
First stage,
And the
the
flag is
boosters,
turning blue right now.
Miko,
Instead of
Exactly.
red.
boosters cut off, and then the separation.
It's a little bit cloudy in Wenchang, so we cannot see the trajectory from the ground now. But we can still see the video from the sent it from the camera mounted
Right.
on the vehicle.
The camera from the rocket.
Yes. And also we can see the 3D animation.
So
Optical
process is
and the
going on
radar
very
tracking
smoothly
system is
so
normal.
far.
The telemetry signals are normal. Wenchang flight status is normal.
The plume is expanding right now. Things are looking great.
So we can see that
Going
the
as
launch
per the
vehicle
plan.
is already turned the direction to the southeast.
The booster cutoff is
And the
coming
next,
up very
critical step
shortly.
will be the separation of the 4 boosters. We can see the shape of the flames of the rocket engines is quite different because of the atmosphere is already, the density is already very low.
the radar is going very well, and yeah, we're
Yes, as we
seeing some.
discussed.
Yeah, since the signal is not that stable, but it's good enough. And we're seeing
Yes.
from the camera angle, from the angle of camera attached to the equipment cabin of Tianzhou-4. And you're now watching our
Yes.
special coverage on the launch of Tianzhou-4.
And we will be
And,
having, there you go, the cutoff and
has been
separation. Whoa.
Great. The
You
boosters
can
are
see
already
in the
full.
second, the
the
core
rocket
stage is
boosters now
obviously
being
lighting.
let go, as we can see.
And we have the separation of
Okay.
the core stage, ignition of the second
The
stage.
first stage separated at a moment about 3 minutes.
This is looking cool. Really cool.
And the next critical step will be the jettisoning of the payload fairing. The 4.2 meter wide payload
There are
fairing.
4 engines. I have actually had this 2 engine the upper
Are
stage,
they?
but they have 4 one.
Are the boosters already
and we have the
detached
fairing separation
from the main body of the
Yes.
rocket
there you
already?
go.
Yes, not only the 4 boosters, but also according to the voice of the commander, the first stage is also being already separated very successfully.
So they are applauding
So now
for
we
the
can-
success of the first stage detachment.
Yes, yes. So what you see is the second stage, the 4 engines, 2 of the 4 engines mounted on the tail of the second stage.
Yes, there are 4 engines, not 2. The KSP, we don't have a 4-engine one.
So the
yeah.
first stage separation
that's
has
why.
been completed, which means the main engine is being cut off.
Yes. And now it's the working of the second stage. Use 4 engines, which is called YF-115. Each has a thrust about 18 tons.
So these
So-
4 engines of the second stage is runs on RP1 and LOX and has again the oxidizer-rich stage combustion cycle, which means the fuel is burnt in stages in that. Again, after the fuel is burnt in the pre-burner, first of all, that fuel is transferred into the combustion chamber. So the fuel is actually burning in stages there. So it's a closed cycle engine and not an open cycle one. So that is that. And there are 4 YF-115 engines. 2 are fixed, 2 are gimbaled. As I said, gimbaled one, there you will see in a certain time that 2 of them will get shut down first of all, and then the other 2 will shut down. And the reason is the acceleration. You'd want a precise injection in the orbit. So that can be done when the 2 engines are shut down, obviously.
The
Yes,
whole
this is a 3D animation, but this animation is driven by the real date, which means that the position, the attitude, and also the condition of the engines is based on the real date received from the launch vehicle itself. So it is real.
It is real time. So
Yes.
the time
And
of
also-
flying is now about 340 seconds already.
Well, you can also see the dash lines, which means the data link between the launch vehicle itself and also the ground station. We have multiple ground stations to monitor the status of the launch vehicle.
Great.
Okay, it's already about 6 minutes.
6 minutes already?
Yes.
Okay, 6 minutes already. Things
So
are looking
So
It's,
the next step,
is
The flying
shutdown
angle
of the
is
two engines.
being automatically adjusted towards the destination.
yes. So the next step will be the shutdown of 2 of the 4 engines.
Hi, infected Chris.
of the
Welcome
second
to the
stage.
stream.
Because these 2 engines are fixed, and the other 2 engines can change its direction for the attitude control, and also for the very precise trajectory
Yes,
adjustment.
Lucent Young, you
So
are
what's the
right.
significance of shedding all those engines?
Well, the shutdown of all engines means that the working of the launch vehicle is already completed, and if the orbit parameters is accurate enough, this will be means that the successful launch of the mission. So the launch itself will be a successful one.
When is the rocket entirely let go of the Tianzhou-4 capsule?
At the moment when the Tianzhou cargo ship is separated from the second stage, usually happen at about 8 to 10 minutes, actually about 9 minutes or so.
Pretty soon then.
Very, very, very soon it will happen. So you can see that the second stage works much longer than the first stage.
Yes.
Although the thrust of the engine is much smaller than the first stage, but it works longer. And also, as I have mentioned, it used a rocket engine called the YF-115, which also used a combination of kerosene and also liquid oxygen. It has very high performance.
But obviously, I am
But
an
is
advocate
the
of hydrolox upper
propellant
stage.
pollutive? I mean,
Kerosene and
Kerosene,
liquid oxygen. With,
Those are
with
environmental
kerosene as the
friendly.
fuel and the liquid oxygen as the oxidizer. Well, you see that our Long March 5 the four boosters of Long March 5 use the similar engines of the first stage of the Long March 7. So we use the same engine for different launch vehicles, which can bring us more practical, more reliable choices.
So everything is going on very smoothly so far. And as
exactly.
we can see, something not very relevant to the launch, actually, we can see all the staff there at the commanding center wearing masks because China is experiencing COVID
pandemic
right now, and they're observing the restrictions very strictly.
Well, we can still see the video, get the data from the camera mounted on the second stage.
Right.
And also the working of 2 of the 4 engines.
So this camera is attached on the rocket or on Tianzhou 4?
Yes.
It's on the rocket.
On the rocket.
You can see the flame. Yes. So you know that the transmitting video is always relatively different type for the communication system.
So now
so we can see the very clear video.
The gimbaling one is on. 2 engine shutdown has the 2 fixed have been shut down.
Beautiful right now, if you can see it.
And
exactly, especially at night.
Exactly. Well, the propellant, I'm still curious to know, are they going to cause any pollution in the universe?
There you go, separation confirmed.
No. The product
and
is only carbon dioxide around water.
It is actually doing the burn, the RCS burn right now.
The Long March 7 rocket is letting go of the Tianzhou 4
and it is actually very necessary to do that, a slight burn of RCS, because you don't want the module to collide with the rocket stage. So that's why that evasive burn is there.
Already separated from the launch vehicle.
Now Tianzhou 4 is making its way alone in orbit.
Solar panels.
Solar panels
among
will deploy.
so many stars. Oh my God, so beautiful.
Yes, it's already in outer space with the altitude about 200 kilometers high.
Yeah, it's like science fiction. And its orbit landing has just confirmed.
Well, we can. We still need to check the measurement. We need to measure the orbital parameters to confirm that it is okay. You know that because today we need to rendezvous with the Tiangong space station, so the accuracy of the orbit is very important. So we need to check that. And also, as I mentioned, we also have a very critical step to unfolding the solar panels of the Tianzhou cargo ship.
So what we're seeing now is the 3-dimensional animation, right?
Exactly. As I emphasized, it's a real data-driven 3D animation. So what you see is the position is a real position. The data is get from the telemetry data sent by the Tianzhou itself and being displayed on this 3D animation. So the next step will be the unfolding of the solar panels.
Right. So we need to wait patiently for the solar panels of Tianzhou 4 to fully
in the animation,
deploy.
it has already been deployed in my animation because I wanted to show you how it would look like. So we are just waiting for the official ones to do.
Almost 700 seconds.
Seconds, right. It's amazing. It's just short time. Tianzhou 4 space module has already reached the outer space.
Low Earth orbit. It's very typical for the launch of
new to rockets. That I must say that. He's definitely
as you asked, the Long March 7 will play a major role in the future of China to launch the payload to the low Earth orbit, because it is designed for this kind of mission. And also, it has a derivative called the Long March 7A, which has a third stage, is to launch the higher payload.
Long March 7 is thinner than Long March 5, right?
Exactly. Very professional. But they have the same diameter, but the length is much longer. Exactly.
So it's called.
There you go, guys.
Now the solar panel is fully deployed. It's fully extended, reaching 14.9 meters.
And we have the.
Can we call it success now? Or
as
too
per
early?
now, yeah.
As I mentioned, we
But
still need the
still
measurements
needs to
of the
go to the
orbital
station.
parameters.
Still need to go to the station right now.
And also from the ground station. We will
And thank you
analyze.
so much, Chris, for that 449. Appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for supporting. It's what this is what keeps this channel going. Thank you so much for that.
You know what, Professor Yang, I'm really envious of Tianzhou-4 right now. It can fly in the outer space, in the universe so freely.
And please
alone.
notice that there are many
the docking. I'll talk about that. Someone asked me, so yeah.
I don't
I'll
know
talk
if
about that once
I'm envious about the food there. I think the food on the Earth is better. But,
okay, let's just talk about the docking right now. So talking about the docking, it depends on what is the instantaneous launch window is like. You know, today the launch window was like around 120 seconds, which means 2 minutes. So for that they have a 6.5 hour rendezvous option, which is the most likely one. But they have this 3 hour option, 4.5 hours, 6.5, 8, and 24-hour rendezvous option. So it depends on when the module is being launched and in what orbit it is being launched. So when the orbits align, you get the lowest one, but right now it is the average one, 6.5 hours. That's what was the for the Tianzhou 3 also, and Tianzhou 4 it is also 6.5 hour till it reached the Chinese space station. And talking about the Chinese space station, the Chinese space station does not have any crew on board there. So everything will be done automatically, automated docking and all those things. And talking about automated things, there is already a Tianzhou 3 being docked on the station, and it has transitioned from the aft docking port to the front one without the being crew on board. So it's a transition which has happened automatically by the computer software. So yeah, that is that. And this one will be docked with the aft docking port of the Tianhe core module.
I just saw a report that actually there are more than 200 packages. Is there a way to make it easier for the crew members, 3 or 4 at most, to find the things that they need?
Yes, first, you know that for different type of cargos, the belt on the package it has different colors. There are blue, there are yellow, and there are other colors. So they can have the classification based on the colors. By the way, for the details inside the package, there are QR codes on the package. So you know that our Shenzhou crews have their mobile phones. Each crew have 2 mobile phones, so they can scan the QR code and find what's exactly inside the package.
Wow.
Then how long will Tianzhou-4 stay there? I guess the crew wants it to stay as long as possible, so they can have a big or extra room to stock their stuff.
Actually speaking, the Tianzhou-4 cargo ship will dock to the rear docking port of the Tiangong space station today, after several hours, and it will stay at the rear docking port for about 6 months. You see that before the arrival of the Shenzhou 15 crew, just at the end of this year, it must leave the station and freeze the rear docking port for the Tianzhou 5 cargo ship. So it will stay there for about half a year.
So its eventual fate, will it like Tianzhou 2, which was burnt in the Earth's atmosphere?
Yes, so the final destination of the Tianzhou 4 will deorbit to the, actually speaking, the South Pacific region.
She's curious, I must say that. She's new and curious, and that's what we require. Space is all about curiosity.
There are no any people and residents there, and also there are no airplanes and ships usually in this area. And the nearest land is about 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers away from that point. So that is the ideal place for the deorbiting. So there is no exception that the cargo ships from the other countries such as the progress, such as the ATV, HTV, and also signals are also deorbited to this point.
Exactly. So thank you so much for that 999. I can't pronounce your name. Sorry, I don't know Chinese, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Is from Mr. Ilu. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ilu, for 999. Really appreciate it. And I hope you liked my commentary and the knowledge and the information which I gave. And if you have just joined in and you want to know more about this mission, you can just rewind this live stream. And I have given everything that you need to know about this mission, about this launch, about Tianzhou 4, Long March 7, and whatnot. And on this channel, I do live streams of all the rocket launches and do everything you need to know about the mission section, so that any launch happens, just come in here, hop in here, we'll just hang out and get to know about the mission and see the launch. And today was a beautiful launch, and we'll see the raw video also from the unofficial cams. Hopefully they have recorded some good views there too.
16 candidates have been released officially, and your friend Yang Liwei is one of them. Yang Liwei is our first astronaut who made it to the outer space. So, of Chinese astronaut who made it to the outer space. So, is it possible for Yang Liwei to go to the station, go to the outer space once again?
Well, according to Mr. Yang Liwei's introduced to the media, that he is still keeps the training. Just several days before, he's also experienced the G forces to 8T. So that
why is she curious and having these kind of questions? Because she's a reporter, news reporter, journalist. She's not a space expert. The person who is a space expert is the person who is speaking right now, right? So that's why she's a new person who has just got some interest into space and asking questions. And she's very well valid on that point. So yeah, that's how everything works. The curiosity starts first of all, and then people get into it.
The second going to complete the second space mission, manned space mission.
Exactly, and also that he often mentioned that he is a little bit jealous about his crewmate. That he stayed in Shenzhou 5 spaceship for 24 hours, which is only several cubic meters, a very narrow place and not very comfortable. But his colleagues can reach the Tianhe 1, and the Tianhe itself has inner volume about 50 cubic meters, much wider than the Shenzhou spaceship. So he also has a wish to revisit the Tianhe again.
Well, the core module Tianhe is unoccupied at the moment, so I assume the Tianzhou 4 cargo ship will have to automatically dock the core module. Can you tell us more of the docking procedure?
Yes. Today, not only our Shenzhou cruise space manned spaceship, but also our Tianzhou cargo ships choose the fast rendezvous and docking, which means that from the launch to the docking only lasts for about 6 to 7 hours. So we choose this technology to ensure that it is much safe and convenient for the astronaut. Moreover, it is also very meaningful for the future scientific research. You know that in the future, we also possible to perform some kind of biological experiments. Maybe some animals will be brought to the station. So you know that for the animals, we need to store the animals to the Tianzhou cargo ship first, and then launch to the station. So the interval between the launch and also the docking should be as short as possible. So the fast rendezvous and the docking, it can not only make the astronaut very comfortable for during the whole journey, but also is very useful for the biological scientific research. And the dock, this time, as you mentioned, correct, it will be an automatic docking because we don't have astronauts on board the station. But in the future, that's the Shenzhou 13 is the last mission that leave the station, but so the station is in an unmanned status. So in the future, we will have an uninterrupted residence in our Tiangong space station. So in that phase, if anything wrong happened to the automatic docking system, the astronauts can switch the docking system from the automatic one to a manual docking one. And also, that during the Tianzhou-2 mission, the Shenzhou 13 crew has tested the technology, the operation of a remotely controlled manual docking. So which means that the docking is a manual one, but the astronauts does not stay in the cargo ship because it's a cargo ship, and the astronaut control the operation of the cargo ship from the station. It is a remotely controlled one. So this technology increase the reliability of the docking procedure, so we can ensure that. And also, we should also emphasize that we choose the APAS, or the Endogenous Peripheral Attach System, as our docking mechanism, which follows international standards. So in the future, it is possible for other countries to have a spacecraft, either a cargo ship or a crewed spaceship, to visit our space station. So they only need a very slight change of their docking system.
Talking about that, has anyone or any countries applied for that?
Well, that's since the beginning of China manned space program, we have very intensive and very deep cooperation with other countries. Our astronauts were trained in Russia, in Moscow, in 1990s, and also during every flight mission, we also have cooperation with Europe and also other countries. You see that during the early phases in the Shenzhou 8 missions, just at the beginning of my cooperation with CGTN, at that moment, China and Germany has a joint experiment called Singbox. And also, today we choose 9 experiments from 17 countries by the help of the United Nations. So maybe next year, the instruments for these experiments will be brought to the station and be conducted by the astronauts of China. And in the future, it is also possible for the, as I mentioned, the crewed spaceship or cargo ship to launch from the other countries and dock to our space station. But you know that for Russia, there are one factor we should consider, because you know that the territory of Russia is has very high latitude, and to dock with the China space station, we have a basic requirement that the latitude of the launch site must be less than 41 or 42 degrees. So that's the difficulty met by Russia. But for other countries, for instance, Europe, they have the French Guiana launch site. So there will be no difficulty for the Europe to launch spacecraft to China's space station. Also, the similar situation for Japan and the U.S.
And how about the cooperation with the U.S.? As you mentioned, the U.S., the chief of U.S. Space Administration not long ago complained about China. He said China didn't voluntarily offer cooperation with the U.S. Is it possible for future cooperation between the two countries?
Okay. Well, currently speaking, it's quite difficult. Your colleagues already mentioned in the report. You may notice that the administrator of NASA forgot that the NASA is still restricted by the Wolf Amendment. So the Wolf Amendment released by the U.S. Congress is a major obstacle to prevent China and NASA to cooperate together. So to cooperate with China, NASA must solve this problem first.
Right, indeed. Well, back to the picture, back to the animation that we're seeing right now. Although it seems that Tianzhou-4 is flying very slowly because the universe is very, very vast. But what exactly is this speed right now?
It's not slow.
Well, the relative speed of the Tianzhou cargo ship to the Earth is about 7.8 kilometers per second. Now, the Tianzhou cargo ship is orbiting the Earth just above the Pacific Ocean. So at this moment, it also has some critical steps. For instance, it also needs to raise the antenna at the top of the service module. because you know that at this moment we have this link between the Tianzhou cargo ship.
The sleek design of the control panel, the new control panel, as I said, and they have the sleek design here. Everything is fused in one thing, and such a good system here. Wow.
Okay, the commander
is going to release the result of this launch.
Wow. The new UI is amazing.
Officials, experts, and comrades. Based on the Long March 7 Wi-Fi flight data and a report from Beijing Command and Control Center, Tianzhou-4 cargo ship has accurately entered the preset orbit. The solar panels have been fully extended, and the cargo ship is in good condition. I now declare the launch mission a complete success.
And there you go, the big red screen, which is a sign of success.
Here, on behalf of Launch Center and the Command Office, I would like to extend a warm congratulation to all participated teams, personnel, and research institutes. And my appreciation also goes to officials and experts on site for your great support. And this is the end of today's launch mission. Thank you all.
So there you go, guys. Finally, we have a successful launch of the Long March 7 rocket carrying Tiangong.
The launch of Tianzhou-4. China's Manned Space Engineering Office, as the chief has just declared that. And it's taken off from the Wenchang launch site in Hainan province in southern China. The spacecraft will soon rendezvous and also dock automatically with Tiangong, China's orbiting space station. And then let's get back to our guest, Yang Yuguang, Professor Yang Yuguang from China Aerospace Science Industry Corporation. Professor Yang, we just witnessed the whole successful launch of Tianzhou-4. Including this mission, China plans to launch 6 missions altogether this year to complete the China space station. How challenging are these missions?
Very. Guys, regarding this, I've already discussed about the China's plan for the construction of the CSS, which means the Chinese space station. So you can just rewind, and yes, this is a good replay.
But this time,
relive
the
launch,
Tianzhou-4,
for sure.
the successful launch of the Tianzhou-4 cargo ship means that the beginning of the start of the construction phase. So during this phase, I believe the most important mission is the launch of the Wentian module and the Mengtian module, because you know that the basic configuration of China's space station is composed of the Tianhe core module, Mengtian, and the Wentian module. And also, as we have already discussed, the construction is not only simply connect the 3 modules together, but also have many complicated steps. And these are also very, very important and a little bit risky. You know that all space activities are very risky today. So during this procedure, we also have to meet many challenges. For instance, the Wentian and Mengtian module has even much more larger solar panels comparing with the Tianhe module. All the modules, all the solar panels.
No, Max Ugly, this won't stay up for that, but we won't be even having a proper live stream for docking. So no plans for that. I think we will see some signs and all those things going in with this mission. So yeah, that's what we are waiting for.
Mechanism to get the maximum efficiency of the solar power. So this is also a new technology, and we haven't tested that before. So this is also a very challenging task for China Aerospace. And also, although our Shenzhou spaceship and the Tianzhou cargo ship is already very practical, but also you know that for each launch, it is also a very risky task.
Thank you very much, Professor Yang Yuguang from China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation. A little forecast here. The first CSS crew handover is expected this autumn when the Shenzhou 15 crew replaces Shenzhou 14. All right, so that's it for our special coverage of the launch of Tianzhou-4 cargo spacecraft. We leave you with some of the key moments from the launch today. I'm Li Dongning in Beijing. Thanks for watching.
Let's just see this one. This camera, I just love it. This cam. engine bay cam, and then the blue flames, the Long March 7 goes to the sky, roars in the sky, and those blue flames just look phenomenal. I mean, wow. Just wow. Okay, so yes, finally it has been launched, and I will see a different launch angle from here. So that is done. Let's see if we have anything from here. If I can even do that, I don't think. Up, I can't rewind it. Oh, we can't do that. But yes, we'll surely have some great angles, which we'll see right now here on. Here, so we'll see that. Many, I must say that it was such a good launch for sure. It was such a good launch for sure, and things are looking great right now. And this is of no use. Hey. So yeah, as I was saying, this launch was a pretty good one. We right now it will take around 6.5 hours to for it to dock with the space station, and then finally it will do its when it is docked with the space station, then the Shenzhou 14 crew will arrive, and it will basically, it's the unedited version, you can say, without any overlays or anything. So yeah, it's a great one, a great view for sure. So yeah, I was saying, once it arrives, the next on in June we'll see the Shenzhou 14 crew will dock with the station and do their job, and then in October, July we'll see one of the science module, Wangtian, I suppose, and then in October the another science module, Wangtian, will launch, and at that point of time you will see some certain articles going around which will say another launch from China, which will have a risk on human lives, because the Long March 5B rocket is kind of like a SSTO, which means a single stage to orbit. If we just detach its boosters, it does not have anything else. Does not have a upper stage. So the long single stage booster just come tumbling back to the earth, and you will see those news articles flowing around at that point of time. So just don't pay any heed to them, because while it's a concern, yes, it's a big rocket, and yes, it's an uncontrolled re-entry, but the way they exaggerate on those things is not acceptable at all. So just keep in mind, yes, that will happen. We don't know where it will fall and what all things will happen, but surely things are, you know and we don't know whether they have done some modifications with the Long March 5B rocket itself, for it to not do these kind of stunts, right? So yeah, that's it. uh it was a successful launch, everything was good, and yes, the UI of the display control center in the Wenchang was great. Everything went as per the plan, and you can see in front of you how the things looked like. So now the rendezvous will happen, and finally it will dock with the space station. We'll have some certain views also here. If I here. Talking about the views, let me just tell you how this space station is, right? Why am I saying this is kind of a modern one? See, talking about the comparison between CSS and ISS, it's a different thing. See here, see for yourself. See, why am I saying this? CSS is a kind of a modern than ISS. You can see for yourself. It's a very clean looking space station. It's made from 2000 technology. So I wouldn't say it's totally advanced from the ISS, but what should I say? How should I explain it? Yeah, this one is a good analogy. Like, we have a motherboard for a computer, right? The motherboard is very new and advanced. for this CSS, the motherboard of ISS is not very advanced. That's why everything is cluttered and all those things are there. If I give you this computer analogy, the motherboard is advanced for the CSS one, the ISS does not have that, but the other modules like the power modules and all those things, in computers, like we have a RAM module, so those are the things which China is right now lacking behind. They are still testing on the advanced one. The ISS already has those advanced things, but let me tell you, ISS is retiring very soon, and the orbital reef will be, will replace it. So things are already they are already moving forward to not, have a good amount of life left for this ISS, because it's not efficient. It's not efficient. So yeah, you can see it's very very clean how the things are there in CSS. It's the internal view, the exercising there. You can see here all those, these bands are there wherein they can just tuck themselves in and not float around. And these bands are not only here but upper side also, because obviously there is no upside or bottom or top when you are in space. So yeah, that's that. You can see in here how the things look like, and yes, they are trying to do the hair cutting, and this is the cargo. This is how they are getting the cargo from the module. So here, this is the aft docking port, and this is the packages which you are seeing is the packages from the previous Tianzhou missions. So here you can see everything is cluttered, and that's the reason why they are you know want this thing to come from the cargo from here, because they have a certain area here in the module which can accommodate those modules which come out of it. So it's easier to take those cargo from the aft one. So yeah, that's it. So I wanted you to see these kind of images, because yes, it is kind of good to see those things, and we have certain views. And she is actually very much, a space science teacher, and she has conducted many lectures and all those activities also in space station. You can see she's doing her uh, playing the instrument, as you can see. And this is one of the Tianzhou 3, um, what should I say, 0G indicator, that tiger or a bull. I don't know what was that, but yeah, I don't know what is the thing for the Tianzhou 4, but yeah. There you go. This one was a cow for the Shenzhou 13. Shenzhou 13. Actually, the Tianzhou had this cow, and I don't know whether they brought it back or not. This was the 0G indicator. I don't know what is the 0G indicator in this Tianzhou 4 mission, so we'll have to look for that. Okay. So anything else you want to discuss, guys? You can do that right now. So finish it, man. Those RCS burns were amazing. Yes, campaign. Actually, those RCS burns are necessary, because those burns ensure that those are evasive maneuvers actually for the module to get away from the second stage, so that they don't collide with each other. So they just get away from each other. So that's why those burns happen. Uh, the issue with the ISS is deorbiting it. Well, the ISS right now is facing other issues with Russia and all of those things. The future of ISS is still hanging on a thread, I must say that. The ISS was made, ISS, International Space Station, as the name suggests. It's not from one country. Many countries have participated to make that possible, right? So if Russia, just pulls out of the ISS one day, that won't, be beneficial for both of the parties, the US as well as Russia, because Russia provides the propulsion system, and the US provides the power system. So they basically won't be having any orbiting laboratory in space. The Russia, if they pull out, so it's very unlikely that they do so. All those Rogozin comments are just, just ignore them. I just don't like to pay heed to him. He just talks a lot. That's the main thing I would say. He just talks a lot without any sense, without anything. Consulting anyone, he's paid, a tremendous amount of salary, and the salary for actual scientists and engineers is peanut in comparison to that. So I don't want to go into that. So he's clearly a political guy rather than a science one. Yeah. Okay, it was a great live stream, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you have any questions, you can certainly ask me right now. But I have actually covered all the things which you needed to know. So if you are a curious one, just rewind this stream a while back and you will get to know everything about this launch. And again, I'm saying, please, guys, hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't, because this is how this channel survives, right? Uh, and this is how this channel goes on. And live streams are not so much good on YouTube. It's a Twitch thing and not a YouTube thing. So yeah, thank you all for all the members and the Patreons for supporting it. Without you, this channel is nowhere. It Those membership and Patreon revenue make sure that I have a certain at least have a certain amount of income every month. So thank you all for doing that. And yes, the Chinese is launching, I've already discussed about that also, the space telescope. JWST images released an hour ago, right? So yeah, Chinese are also launching their space telescope, which you will see. If they have, will let me just see. Who released it images? Okay. Seen the Spitzer and in Webb's collaboration image, Spitzer, NASA's first infrared grade observatory, led the way for the Webb's larger primary mirror and improved detector to see the wow with even more clarity. See the difference with the Spitzer and this one, JWST. JWST is a beast. I must say that. See the clarity in the images with the things which they can have with this, images is incredible. This is the infrared one, which means, those all the bright spots and all those things are the stars, planets, and all those things. So yeah, that's how it looks like, and the comparison is amazing. I must say that the clarity is amazing. You can see that, just wow, the power of JWST. The analogy for the power of JWST is this one: if there is a firefly on the moon, right, and that firefly is just doing its thing, emitting the light, the JWST can detect it from the earth, that small peck of light from the surface of the moon. It can detect it from the earth. That's how powerful JWST is, and the incredible engineering on that telescope. I have actually, researched on the engineering of it and how the things work in JWST, and actually, yes, researched it, and obviously told you, discussed all those things with you also with during the JWST launch. So you can just go into that stream and just look for yourself the incredible engineering of this telescope. So yeah, thank you so much. Who was it? Max Ugly, for imitating me to see these images. It was a wonderful one. Okay, thank you all for joining in, guys. If please do support me by becoming a member, and we'll meet again with another launch. So the next launch is, uh I'm actually very disappointed with the ISRO. I mean, come on, man, do some launches. They have promised a lot this year, but they haven't delivered at all. So we have two launches. The Starlink launch is coming up very soon on 13th of. Oh, we do have like two launches back to back on 13th of May. Like a few hours gap for the Starlink launches, and one of those Starlink launches will have their booster land near Bahamas Island. So it would be interesting if anyone lives there and get a hold of some images coming in from the Bahamas. Smarter every day has great JWST content too. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but yeah, obviously he's a guy who can have those things. Yeah. Okay, the next one is the guys. Finally, the Starliner is launching. So on 20th of May, right now, the Starliner launch is confirmed or scheduled. The Starliner finally is launching after an, oh my god, year-long delay, and they have finally rectified all those things which were there. I don't know what was so critical that they took around a year to develop. In contrast to SpaceX, uh, SpaceX would have just completed their Starship program by a year end. So I don't know, dude. See, seriously, I just don't have any comments for the Boeing how they operate when it comes to space and all. So yeah, let's see. Let's hope now this one is successful. Looking forward to 20th May. And we don't have much launches. We have a Starlink launches all over this month. New Shepard is there, Electron is there, Soyuz with the MS-20. So yeah. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much, Max Ugly, for your appreciation. What's the Chinese Space Telescope? The Chinese Space Telescope is this one. I've actually talked about this one, so you can just have a look at it. But still, I'll just have a brief overview, give you a brief overview. So this one is a Chinese Space Telescope. This is known as the Suntian, or I can't pronounce it at all, but spelling is Xuntian. So this is a space telescope which will have the same orbit as the Chinese space station, and it's a part of Chinese space station, but will not be docked with the space station, will not be attached with the space station. It will be in the same orbit as of the space station, but with a different phase, which means if the space station has its orbit going over, let's say, China at a particular time, maybe this one is orbiting over Pacific at that point of time. So that is the difference in space phase. And the biggest feature is that it will be having a 300 times larger field of view than the Hubble Space Telescope. So it will be able to have 40% of the sky. It will be able to cover 40% of the sky over 10 years. So that's great. And all the servicing and everything will be done. Why is a part of space station? Because everything, whenever the servicing needs to be done for this telescope, this telescope will rendezvous with the space station, get near it, and then the servicing will be done by the astronauts coming out of the space station. All the fueling, the refuel if needed, will also be done by that. So that's why it's a part of the space station. It's not attached with it, but it's a part of space station because all the servicing and maintenance will be done by the space station. I hope that makes sense. Yes, I have watched that video. Now I remember. Yes, exactly. So thank you all for joining in, guys. We'll meet again on the Starliner launch. Hopefully, if I'll see if I can come up with the Starlink launch, because that would be a unique one. Because landing their first stage near Bahamas would be unique one. Yeah, let's see. Thank you all for joining in. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for all the Patreons and the members, Null Unit and Google account. You just rock for the astronaut tire, and thank you so much for joining in. Until then, this is Pian Shiroila. You just saw Rocket Gyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye-bye.